Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Pop Go the Writers. It is, middle of May, like May, what, 13th?
It's
14th?
it's the 14th. It's Mother's Day, Dan.
It is Mother's Day. And I did spend time with my mother. I just had dinner with my mother. And I bought her a Fire Stick because she wants to be able to watch Discovery Plus. So, and since that's merging with HBO Max at the end of the month, I already have HBO Max, so I can put it on her TV. She'll get that. So I did my good son duties.
Good.
So how you doing, Jim?
I'm doing just fine. I just got copies of my brand new book and I'm holding it in my hand for the first time. Woohoo!
Nice.
So it's always a good day to come home to a box of your own book.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's nothing as a writer. There's nothing better than that first moment you hold your book in your hand, like
Yeah.
especially when you first get in it, first
Yeah,
get in
and
the
it doesn't
industry.
look like crap.
Yeah, or you walk into that comic shop, you see it on the shelf for the first time, or the bookstore, you see it on the shelf, like, oh,
Yep.
I'm real.
Yep. I exist. I have a purpose in life.
Yep. So what you been up to this weekend? Anything fun?
No, just working. I just got my ticket to go see Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Nice.
Fathom Event is doing Raiders of the Lost Ark, and I think it's at the beginning of June. It's like the first or second Wednesday of June, something like that. And
Very nice.
I think they're doing like a Sunday and a Wednesday, and a Sunday wouldn't work out because I do this one online show. And so
Yeah.
Wednesdays are better. So I just got my ticket for that.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of the Fathom events lately because they keep having things that I think are fun and cool. Right now, I'm debating the 40th or 45th anniversary of Greece. Fathom Events is doing that. I think that would be really fun.
I haven't done one in a very long time, but I did the Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein event.
Oh yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
was
I
awesome.
I missed out on that. I would have really loved that.
Yeah.
I have I'm also on the 31st of this month. I have a ticket to see Shin Kamen Rider,
Very nice.
which is from the same director who did Shin Godzilla and Shin Ultraman. Supposedly he did Shin Evangelon or however you say that. But I don't
Evangelion.
yeah, whatever that is. But I'm not like familiar with that, and I think it's animated anyways. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, Shin Kamen Rider is coming to America for like one day, something like
So
that.
what does Shin mean? Why is that on the front of all the
Shin
titles?
loosely translates to new.
Okay.
So new Godzilla, new Ultraman, new Kamen Rider.
That's what
And
I
like
was
I said,
thinking
it's the
about. Yeah.
same director and his whole take is sort of like, well, for the three movies or the one, two, three movies, two movies that I've seen, Shin Godzilla and Shin Ultraman, his thing is like governmental response to whatever is going on in the movie. That was what the big deal was in the Godzilla one, and then again in Ultraman. I'm not so sure what the Kamen Rider one is. What his
Yeah.
take is on that. But I like the original TV show, so I'm all excited about that.
I think I saw one or two of the TV show or a couple episodes, but I've been reading the book from Titan, the comic book.
Oh, for Kamen Rider.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I guess I knew about that. Hmm.
Yeah,
There's,
there are a
it's
couple
like
episodes.
Ultraman. There's been how many different iterations of Kamen Rider? It
Yeah.
began in the like early '70s, if I'm not mistaken, and they still have versions of it today.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. This has been a weird weekend for me because I had work, but I would do my work and then I made a trip over to the Warhammer store or the Games Workshop.
Hmm.
They have both names. Some of them are called Games Workshop, some are called Warhammer Store.
Hmm.
And the first one I ever went to up in Victorville was Warhammer Store, but this one was actually Games Workshop. So I went in and I bought some new paints I wanted and kind of looked around and came home and just talking to the guys down there, they get all excited. So I was kind of energetic about it. And I came home and I ended up building like 5 miniatures for my army. I'm getting close to finishing at least the building phase of my army. I think I have 5 left of the 16 figures I've got. And then yesterday I did more work and then sat down and knocked out 13 pages on a 24-page script.
I liked your Facebook post quite a bit about the, there's like, I like crocheting and I like, painting my models or whatever, but sitting down to write a script is the real deal, or whatever, however you put it. That was a great post. I enjoyed that one.
And then today I did a little more work, and I did some work on the crochet that I'm working on. And then I was sitting there, and on Friday they told me, we give out a free figure once a month, and it's going to be Saturday. He says, but I said, well, I can't get back in here on Saturday. He goes, well, we'll be giving them out until they're gone.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here about 3:30, and I'm like, I could probably get down there and back. What the hell? And I was talking to Lisa at the time, and I'm like, I think I'm going to go get that figure. She's like, go or you'll regret it. I'm like, okay.
Right.
So I raced down there.
And that's a new packaged figure?
Oh, it's a brand new figure.
Wow.
So, and I get down there, and as I'm talking to the guy, I said, I'm trying to talk Lisa, my girlfriend, into playing as well, and she's interested, but she doesn't know which army she wants and stuff. And I really want to get her building and painting and get more enthused.
Yeah.
So I get another one of those, thinking he's going to say no. Even though I think I prefaced it with, I know it's probably no, but. And he goes, oh yeah, was she more into the fantasy side or the sci-fi side? I said, well, I think she's more into the fantasy, but I'm playing the sci-fi. He goes, oh well, here, and he gives me another figure that was like a previous month. That's from their side, from their fantasy side. Yeah. So I'm driving back and I'm going, yeah, I got my figure and I got 2 for you.
Wow, playing the I'm trying to get my girlfriend interested card. That works a lot.
Yeah, and it's true actually. That's the funny part.
Yeah, I used to do that with I played. It was my wife. My wife's kind of interested in this. Yeah.
Now, if I needed to, I would have put her on FaceTime and go, tell him you want the figure.
Right. So
give her the sad face.
So these are figures they normally sell, or do they get them in as promo figures?
Well, these they get in as promo figures.
Okay, right.
So they're just on the sprue. Yeah, and then they put them in these generic boxes for you. But it's this particular figure, and I don't remember what faction it's part of, but it's a brand new faction that is part of they have multiple variations of the game. One of them is called Kill Team. And Kill Team is a very accessible way to get into the game, because even though it's a different set of rules, it's a much smaller purchase. It's like I think it's like 5 or 6 figures. So you can buy them, build them, paint them, and play a lot faster than like the border the combat patrol that I bought, which had 12 figures in it.
That's very smart of them to come up with something like that. So for these promo figures, do they come with like game instruction thingies?
No, but all that stuff is available online for free.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I mean, you can buy the books, the codexes, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But you can also get it all for free. Now, I ended up buying the codex for the army I'm building because I'm that guy. I'm a collector too, so sure. I'm probably going to get. I'm only going to be building a certain size army.
Yeah.
But I'll probably buy the other figures and stuff, even though I don't, or I maybe swap them out in different things, but because they're all pretty cool looking.
I bet.
I just got one for my birthday a couple weeks ago that's named Castellan Crow, and I built him on Friday night. along with 4 Terminator Grey Knights, and he is just awesome looking.
When you say built, like how many parts are there like on average to these? It's like a model kit, like, or
Yeah,
like it's like a torso, and you put the limbs on and the head on and that sort of thing, right?
usually it's the front and back of the torso.
Okay.
The limbs are separate. The legs are separate. Sometimes they're 2. Sometimes it's 1.
Yeah.
The arms are separate. The hands are usually separate. All
Okay.
the weapons and paraphernalia, and it depends on
That's
like
really cool.
Castellan Crowe was pretty much there was no variations to him, so he was as close to a snap together as you can get.
Yeah.
But you still needed glue.
Yeah.
But like the Terminator guys, you have multiple weapons and multiple arms, and like the different ones. I have one that's holding a spear or a halberd. I have another that's holding 2 falchions, another that's holding a bastard sword and has a gun on the back of his wrist. Another guy who's carrying a big machine gun with a dagger. So you've got all these variations, and each one can be made. And then the figures are also they're different versions. So like a Terminator can also be a paladin or a purifier, and they have different accessories that go on them to symbolize which they are, and it's quite detailed. So you get a sprue that's probably that big with these little tiny pieces, and then you got to put the heads on them. And I've got a set of tweezers now that I use that actually curve at the end, so I can hold the head and slide them into that little slot with the glue in there, and just
this is really interesting, because I'm starting to realize that this is like combining a game with model building.
It is.
Because I mean, model building certainly isn't like what it was when I was little. I mean, we used to have almost whole store, like you go in a hobby center and there'd be a whole wall of model kits. I mean, I guess some like Hobby Lobby still has model kits or whatever, but this is kind of genius. It's almost like it's keeping the idea of building a model kit alive, but then you actually then use what you've built in a game. Wow. I mean, it's really kind of genius, because it's like you're investing in the character or whatever, and you're proud of what you've done, and then it moves on into the game. So that's really cool.
Yeah, it's similar to what I like about Dungeons and Dragons. When you buy a figure that's unpainted,
yeah, right,
they're already built,
yeah,
but then you prime it and paint it and you customize it for yourself,
yeah,
and then you feel more attached to it than the ones you buy.
Yeah,
that are all pre-painted. It's like there's a DC game that it's really cool, and this was before I got into painting or whatever. But I was playing D&D with another group, and one of the guys painted all our figures, and I had bought a Green Arrow figure, and I said, I am just as intimidated as hell to even try to paint him. He goes, well, you want me to paint him for you? I'm like, okay.
Love it. Nice.
So, and he put him on this base with this.
Yeah, we used to have things like that back in the day. Wow. Fun.
So he sits on my desk now, and he's badass. But I feel a lot more confident now. Just last weekend, painting the Grandmaster Voldus, with how he came out and the painting technique that I discovered through YouTube. It's like, I can do this.
I remember you saying that, last week. Right.
So I'm a lot more enthralled with this now, and I haven't even played the game yet.
Someday.
And I'm passing
the game.
And I'm on the verge of lapping George and Michael. Michael's my nephew, and George is his boyfriend, and they both are building armies. And Michael is cranking. So he's got this group called the Astra Militarum, which of all these big sci-fi looking figures, they look the most like just general army men. But that's the ones he wants. and he's got them all built. He's just painting them. I think he has them all built, but I'm kind of catching up to him. And George is the most meticulous person I've ever met. So in the time that it took me to paint all of Grandmaster Voldus and primer and all that stuff, he built one figure. Mind you,
that is meticulous.
His figure looks awesome.
Right.
But he's not even close because he's still got a bunch more to do. But he'll take it off the sprue, and then he'll use the X-Acto knife to trim it down, to make it, and then he'll use the files to make it perfectly smooth. And then it's like, if you want, by the time he's done, he's probably going to have the best looking army.
Most likely, right.
Yeah.
Hey, what can you say about the script that you're writing right now?
Ooh, okay. It's for a new publisher, or for a publisher new for me.
That's what. Okay, I was going to say define new publisher. Okay, right.
A couple weeks ago, I posted Writer for Hire on my Facebook page, and like a half hour later, this gentleman reached out to me and said, my production manager is somebody you've worked with, and she is singing your praises and says I should get you on something. And can we talk tomorrow?
For me.
Yeah, and I said absolutely, and we had a great conversation. And he said, well, do you have any ideas, or are you looking for something? I said, well, if you want to hear ideas, and I threw two that I've had for a while.
Yeah.
And he said he liked both of them, but he goes, let's go with that one because it's different than everything else we have.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, do you want me to like do a formal pitch? He goes, no, well, from what April says, go to script. Go for
it. Wow, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's got to feel good.
And as for what the story is, I'm taking a story that most people know, and I'm doing it in a very different way. I'm taking a popular story, but I'm telling it from a different person's point of view.
Good, cool.
Flipping who the good guy is and who the bad guy, or who the protagonist, who the antagonist are, and stuff like that. So it was a little slow to start because I did a lot of research, because this is a story that has many variations out there.
Okay.
So I don't feel bad of kind of making my own version, because
sure
people have been doing it for many years.
Sure.
But I kind of locked in on what I wanted to do and the story I tell and what other things I could bring in that other people haven't. And sat down and just plowed through, like I said, 13 pages in a night. And
a mini series, ongoing, one shot.
The way this publisher works is they tend to do Kickstarters. But the plan is to just keep it going.
Okay, cool.
And this is a huge story, and the way I want to tell it is in smaller bits. So, I could take a long time to do this if I really wanted to. It's
and
like
they're going to give you the artist.
Yeah. I'll have some to choose from. They've got some they work with already, or if I want to bring one in, they said that would work too. So
fantastic! Wow, you couldn't ask for better than that.
Oh no! I was so pleased with the conversation, and I am so excited to work on this project. And once it's locked in and things start rolling, I will hype the living hell out of it.
I bet you will.
Good. But it's an idea that I've actually had for a while. I pitched to, I think, 2 different companies quite some time ago, and didn't really get any traction with either of them. And it's kind of like the Freeze. The Freeze was an idea that I had sitting around for like 12 years. I had pitched to Humanoids. I had pitched to Amit Zappa, Frank Zappa's kid.
Yeah,
when he was doing comics for a while with Christian Biernick. And everybody was kind of interested in it, but it just never went anywhere. And then I pitched it to Matt Hawkins after a D&D game, and he's like, let's go with that. I'll get you an artist. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Hey, have you followed the news or followed much of the Frank Miller's new line of comics, the one that Dan DiDio's working with him on and everything?
Yeah, yeah. I know a bit about it.
What do you think of? You haven't really like looked?
No, no, I've read the first couple issues.
Okay, okay.
Um, it's kind of
Which one? Which one is that?
it's kind of two worlds.
Okay.
There's the Frank side of the house, and
Right.
Frank is from what I understand, Frank is overseeing everything.
Yeah.
But there's Frank's universe where he's doing Ronin and that, and he's working with Philip Tan, and that book is freaking gorgeous.
I bet it
Philip
is.
Tan is an amazing artist. I've gotten to meet him a few times. He is a super nice guy, but artistically, the guy should be up there with some. When we talk about some of the best, the guy is fantastic.
Yeah.
And then there's the other side of the house, which is more of this kind of new universe they're building that Dan DiDio is kind of leading.
Right.
And they brought in Kevin Van Hook for some of it as well. And I got to interview Kevin about it a while back. And because he's got another publisher he's working with too. So we talked about both.
Yeah.
So to me, even though I think they're all supposed to be in the same thing, they feel very different.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I think if you're looking for that Frank Miller feel,
Yeah.
then you go there. But if you're looking for like a new universe of characters in the same way, when we all got excited because, oh, the Malibu universe is coming out, or what was that called? What was Malibu's? The Hard Case and Prime Ultraverse.
The Ultraverse.
When the Ultraverse started,
I had a hard time dredging that one up.
Right,
Wow, the Ultraverse.
or the new universe, or when Dark Horse was doing their line of books. It's in that vein because you're getting this interconnected universe of characters that's already established, and just bam, you have this whole new world to plan. And sometimes those are exciting to get into.
Yeah.
And from what I've read so far, it's pretty cool. But it does have, and I don't know how it wouldn't, a kind of a DC feel to it.
Well, that's Dan then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the differences for me is DC always felt like they're telling myths.
Yeah.
They're telling stories about heroes.
Yeah.
And Marvel always felt like they're telling stories about characters.
Yep. I agree with that assessment very much so.
Yeah. It's like when I look at the different characters, Steve Rogers is Captain America. Batman is Batman. Bruce Wayne is the Mask. Clark Kent is the Mask. Diana Prince is the Mask. Where, who the person is. And that's not saying one is better than the other.
Right.
But they are different approaches. And I can enjoy both of them.
Yeah.
But there is a definite difference to the feel.
Oh yeah, I've always felt that. Like DC is like they're icons. Their characters are almost more like gods on earth, or legends, like you said, and then Stan comes in with the more of the everyman, type of approach. I got to interview Dan about his new prose novel that he had out, his YA prose novel, and I had time. I slipped in a question at the end. I said, "Tell us a little bit about what you're doing with Frank Miller." And the one thing that I really loved that he said was, "You know what? We're not trying to compete with anybody out there, any other companies." He said, "We just really want to make comics and have fun with it." And I really love that. We're not trying to compete with DC or Marvel or anybody else like that at all. We just want to make comics. And I really, really like that.
Oh yeah. I'll tell you honestly right now, and I've thought about this for a long time. Like, if I won the lottery, I would go to one of these companies and go, okay, I want to start a line of comics.
Yeah.
And I could do it on my own, or I could do it under the Dynamite banner or the Image banner. But I've got this universe of characters I want to do. Now, they're a little different in that they're not superheroes,
Mm-hmm.
but they're kind of horror-based action stories.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been trying to do different books individually, but to me they're kind of one universe.
Mm-hmm.
And it would have the whole, like, the city names are unique and stuff like that, so it'd have that feel to it.
Right.
But so I think everybody has their kind of cohesive universe they want to tell.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm no different in that respect. I always think of that same thing too. Like, yeah, if I won the lottery, would I start my own comic company and bring in, these different people? But it would be a cohesive universe. You know what I want to do is start a new superhero universe that's the feeling of it is almost like more like Bronze Age, like 70s, 80s. Like still fun and colorful and a little goofy, but yet still a little grounded, somewhere
Mhm.
in there. And then just kind of build it slowly, not go crazy with it. Not to have too many titles, but get a nice cohesive, like I said, Silver Age, Bronze Age sort of feeling going, and not immediately go to aliens,
Yes.
tell more Earth-based stories, and kind of go from there. Because I think that there would be a particular amount of people that would really like something like that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Where mine would be more of an urban fantasy
Hmm. Hmm.
universe.
Hmm.
Not sword and sorcery, but like supernatural
Yeah,
and
sure,
magical, and
sure. Hmm.
and like
Okay,
I
so
said,
urban fantasy, I think, is the best way to describe that. Yep.
so an urban fantasy comic book universe.
Cool.
And like I said, I've got about 5 titles in mind that I would do.
Yep.
One of which I actually had picked up and was solicited, and the numbers were atrocious.
Hmm.
This was through an image group, but the problem was that we were barely making it on the first issue, and I realized I marketed it all wrong. I didn't want to give away what the big hook was, and I realized that big hook is what would get people to buy it.
Is the hook that you needed, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Oh,
yep.
yikes.
So if I ever got a chance again, I would just fire those books up and call in every good artist I know and every good
Mm-hmm.
cover artist.
Mm-hmm.
Call up like Michael Gold and going, "Hey, Mike,
Uh-huh.
want to do like my legendary covers for all the books?" You know,
Well,
just
you better get on that winning that lottery thing real quick. You're not getting any younger. There you go.
got my tickets.
Good deal. Good luck.
Ready to
Good luck
go.
with that. Keep me in mind when that happens. Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, all right. So, what should we talk about tonight?
Did you
I
see
got.
that movie?
I did not get over to see it. My nephew did. My
Okay.
nephew and George and Michael did, and they absolutely loved it.
Good. Good. Good.
So, oh, he had a question, and I'll throw it at you because I think it was a good question.
Okay.
Let me do this real quick, just in case. It's like a minor spoiler. Okay. At the very end of the movie,
Hmm.
in one of the post-credit scenes,
Hmm.
Peter Quill is sitting down with his grandfather,
Yes.
and Jason is reading the paper, and Peter's having breakfast, and they're talking about somebody cutting their grass.
Yeah. I walked away from the theater thinking it was just a little bit of fluff.
Okay.
I didn't think much about it past they just wanted to show the two of them in Peter's sort of new life, and that they're just talking about, sort of the dumbest things. But it was something about, boy, I'm trying to dredge this up now. It was something about somebody who, because of their age, like, and Peter says something like a 42-year-old man, blah, 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 blah. And then the grandfather goes, "Oh, don't get me started." and Peter goes like, well, wait, you say that, and now I want to know. Yeah, I mean, it was just sort of this realistic kind of talk, but I didn't really think it was supposed to
Mean something?
mean something beyond that. And I mean, sometimes I'm dense, and but yeah, I mean, I know we're in a time where we want every single thing out of in a Marvel movie to mean something, like who's he referring to? What comic book character is that? But I didn't get any sense that it was anything more
Okay.
than just a little, like we're supposed to think like back to everything that Peter did during the movie. I mean, he's flying around space and doing all these things, and the very last thing we see is he's at the breakfast table slurping down a bowl of cereal while his grandfather's like reading the paper, and they're talking about somebody mowing the lawn, and it's almost like a little gossipy type of thing. And I think that's what it was supposed to be. It's like,
As
wow,
mundane as possible.
Peter went from being Star-Lord, to sitting at his grandfather's breakfast table, eating a bowl of cereal. So
What's funny is they were so focused on that, they didn't notice that the newspaper was talking about Kevin Bacon.
see, I guess I didn't see that. So
It's all about
they wondered if maybe they were referring to something that was bigger. Well, I haven't heard anything
yeah,
like.
I haven't either, but
Yeah.
so I thought I'd run it by you since you'd seen it. But,
Yeah. What I don't know. What does the Wikipedia page say?
I haven't looked. I'm
See,
resisting looking. I already know so much about it that
yeah. I mean, the mid credit scene was more important, even though that was basically just to show who the Guardians were, the new Guardians were. Other than that, it wasn't really nothing was. They were just sort of sitting around talking.
about, but they were talking about music, and that's interesting because it really shows how much music, even though it was Quill's thing, it passed on. So it was a way of saying that even though he's gone, Quill still has his effect on the team.
Yeah. And you kind of had to wonder how much time had passed because Adam Warlock knew way too much about whatever the group or performer that he brought up. It was like, wait a minute, you like, how the hell did you even get to know about that? How much time has passed here that he would have had to have, heard that group? I can't even remember who he said at the end, but it's nice. I mean, it shows that who's the new Guardians, and what their relationship is, with each other. So that was good.
Yeah. So, I started rewatching What If today.
Oh, wow!
Because I wanted to do it for the show for this week. Because I've been doing a lot of rewatches, and with nothing new other than the movie, I haven't really had a chance to, so I got to fill a day. And I've been doing the movies chronologically, and then I started doing the series from Phase 4, so I get to What If.
Yeah.
And I watched 3 of them, and the 3 are very interesting because they're the Captain Carter one, which was fantastic.
Yep.
It was the T'Challa as Star-Lord one, also fantastic. And then it was the basically Hank Pym kills the Avengers.
Right.
Which is one of my favorites. But then I'm a big fan of Hank Pym. I mean, I grew up liking the character in Yellow Jacket and stuff. Yeah,
that's me too.
But to see him as a badass there, and then see him as a badass in the Ant-Man movie, it's like, all right, we're getting a little love for Hank Pym. But it's funny how, we got Captain Carter who showed up in Doctor Strange, and the Multiverse of Madness, and we've got T'Challa who passed away, but we got the Black Panther movie recently. So, and then and it's Guardians, which just came out. Yeah. So it's like all the current stuff is in those 3 right there. Right. And then the one I was about to start, but I decided to go get the free figure instead, was the Doctor Strange Loses His Heart, which is set up for Multiverse of Madness.
Wow. I'm remembering that now. Yeah, that's That's a tough one there. Yeah.
I think those are probably the four strongest.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not a fan of zombies, so I didn't really care for the zombie one. And the Party Thor one was fun, but it
I'm not a big zombies fan either, but I used to be a pretty big Marvel zombies fan until they hit the like fourth mini series. It was well, I think it was Marvel Zombies 4. What they hit this point where I was done. It was like, no, you've stretched this out as Marvel will do. They milked it for all it was worth, and it just wasn't fun anymore. But the first Marvel zombie stories, and maybe maybe two and maybe even three, but I really enjoyed the What If one, because I liked that they were kind of bringing in parts of the original Marvel zombie story into that, so that was fun to see that. But
yeah.
yeah, that one, the Thor one, no, I didn't much care for that one.
Yeah, and then I know they cut one, which was supposed to be Iron Man and Gamora in deep space.
Oh, I don't think I knew about that. They
Yeah,
cut
it
it.
was. They just ran out of time to get them all finished,
Oh, but did they?
so
I
they're
mean,
actually going to carry it over into second season.
okay. So we will still see that then.
Right, and we did see those two characters
Mm-hmm.
because when the Watcher goes around and picks them up, he picks up that Gamora.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, so yeah, I think just the zombie one and the Thor ones were the only ones that I thought were kind of weaker.
Mm-hmm.
But you know,
Is that all that we know about the new season of What If? Is that it will have that one in it?
I know it's supposed to have that one, and it's supposed to have another Captain Carter picking up from the cliffhanger left over where she finds basically the Hydra Smasher, with Steve still in it.
Folks, here's what I would say. Just give us that Captain Carter live action series, because God love her, Haley Atwell is not getting any younger, you know. And I will really want to do it. I mean, I'll take the animated, don't get me wrong, but I really, really, really want to see her get, I
But if you're an executive and they want to come to Marvel wants to come to Disney and go, yeah, we're going to do a live action of Captain Carter. Well, didn't you do a live action Peggy Carter series, Agent Carter series, that went like a season and a half and didn't do that well?
Yes, but she's a superhero in Captain Carter.
I know, and that episode was so much fun.
Yeah, it really was.
It's like I love to see where she goes in to see Arnim Zola. He goes, "I will tell you nothing," and next thing you know, he goes, "He told me everything."
So good, so
Yeah.
good.
And I do love that most of the actors come back to voice
Yeah,
their roles.
yeah. It's really amazing how many, and what, last real performance of Chadwick Boseman, right?
And it was so good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that is such a great. I mean, just it's such a different spin
Mm-hmm.
on Guardians, but it also kind of keeps the feel of the Guardians movies.
Oh, absolutely. You know what I really loved in that one is how they included Thanos.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was good. That was really, really good. This is all coming back to me now. I should rewatch that series.
Yeah. I love at the very end where the Ravagers are in Wakanda and they're talking to the Wakandans, and Thanos is sitting down with Okoye, and she's like, "Your plan still sounds like genocide." He goes,
Right,
no,
right.
no, it's not, because it's random.
Right.
And Nebula is like, Dad.
Yeah, I like even though this is a different look at Thanos, he still has those ideas in his head.
Yeah, he's not willing to give up
Right.
the idea that was going to work.
Right, right. Good stuff. I rewatched Loki recently, like I said, okay, I can't sit and rewatch all of the series. Which one would I really want to rewatch? And I was amazed that it came down to Loki.
Mhm.
Because that was, and I think I've said that to you before, that was one of the series when they had started to announce series. I said, okay, whatever, I'll watch it. And here I mean, I sat and rewatched the entire thing and like liked it even better the second time.
I have rewatched all of the first year's series now.
Okay.
WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki, What If, and Hawkeye.
Did any one of them go down in your estimation rewatching them, or do you think they all pretty much stayed the same?
Um, I think it's kind of mixed because I think performance-wise,
Mm-hmm.
I think they all went up a certain amount because I went in without any preconceived notions.
Sure,
You know,
sure.
and I think that's a lot of what the problem is when you watch these shows,
Yeah.
because you know these characters and you want them to do X, Y, and Z because
Mm-hmm.
that's what happened in the comics, or you know.
Mm-hmm.
And once you've already seen it and you go back, you can just enjoy it for the story they're telling and the acting and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I think all of them, in a certain way, went up. The one that probably didn't go up as much is WandaVision.
I was kind of afraid of that. I mean, I still today like it, and I was a big supporter of it when, like, in those first two episodes, first 2 3 episodes, where people were really dumping on it because they couldn't understand what was going on. And I was a big, but I, when I said, okay, what do I want to rewatch, I said WandaVision. I don't really kind of want to sit through those first couple of episodes,
Yep.
even though I was a big supporter of them. See, I was kind of afraid of that. If I rewatch another one, it might be Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I think that's still going to hold up, for me.
Falcon Winter Soldier did, but the one that really stepped up for me
Mm-hmm.
on a rewatch was Hawkeye.
Oh, yeah.
Because you get so much more when you push everything else aside and you're just watching it. Jeremy Renner's performance dealing with the grief of losing Natasha really comes through.
Okay.
And you really kind of understand him a little better. And then, so when we get to the fight between him and Yelena, it is so much more,
I bet. Yeah.
And then also the scene where she gets snapped away and then come back. We haven't seen that from anybody else's point of view.
Right.
A person who got snapped and then returned and has to figure out what the hell happened, and her whole life has changed.
Right.
So all of that, and then the character, the swordsman character, Jack Duquesne.
I'm remembering all of this now. Yes.
The finale where he just comes out with the sword. He's like, "It is my time," and he's got his sword and he's running around fighting people. And he's like, "Oh, hello, sweetie."
Yep.
That guy nailed that character so well.
Maybe that's the one that I'll rewatch. I know I don't want to rewatch Ms. Marvel. I mean, I remember it well. I don't think I want to sit through that again. Even though the Marvels is coming out, I don't think I really want to sit through not Ghost Rider, Moon Knight again. Although I enjoyed Moon Knight and Oscar Isaac's performance is so amazing, I just don't think that it doesn't sound fun to me to rewatch that one.
No, I really enjoyed Miss Marvel, and I will rewatch it again when it comes up because I'm doing it for the show.
Yeah.
But Moon Knight is the one I'm really looking forward to, because now that, again, all of that extra stuff is put aside,
yeah,
I can really focus on Oscar Isaac's performance, and see if we get any more subtlety about how, there's a third personality. Because there are so many things that happen that it's like, that had to be Jake. The guy that, that had to be Jake.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I I looking back on it now, I think I still say that one of the downsides of that show is that there's really no connection to the wider Marvel universe. I wish that they had done something at least a little more to tie it in, to the bigger Marvel universe.
See, this is interesting. I'm not necessarily on board with that. I'm okay with
Mm-hmm.
an origin story taking place on its own.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
One of the things I'm doing on the Dan Wickline show is with the audience, I'm putting together a pitch for a Marvel story.
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So we're 3 in now, and we're doing Jack of Hearts.
That's great.
And we're not necessarily going out of our way to connect to the MCU,
Mm-hmm.
but one of the things that will help us is there's already a connection. In Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, that planet that Yondu runs into the original Ravengers, it's like the party planet, and it's snowing.
Yes.
That's where Jack of Hearts is from. That's Contraxia.
Oh, is that okay?
Which is why it's snowing.
I would never remembered that.
That's why it's snowing, because their sun is dying.
Mm-hmm.
So I could put him back in that same location or as close to that location,
mm-hmm.
and make that connection, and even throw in some characters from that, or Howard the Duck type of thing. So I like that idea. And what we decided to do, just for the fun of it, is that once we get the entire pitch put together, we're doing a 1-page pitch. We're going to do an episode where I just sit down and read the pitch, and then we'll segment that out and put it together, and then we'll just go link the hell everywhere.
Okay, that's great. I love it. Yeah, if I remember correctly, I said, you need to now do one for Stingray. Now that we have Namor, we have to have Stingray. Now it'll work. Trust me.
The audience is really getting into it, so I may do this again.
Yeah.
You know, but take another obscure character, maybe a DC one next, and then go back.
I'm kind of surprised now. It's funny. The whole Guardians of the Galaxy thing is now pretty much over, and we didn't get anything more about Nova. Nova is starting to be a strange gap, in things now, because I haven't heard about anything else being done with Nova.
Well, we know that the Nova core was destroyed.
Right.
So it's possible that the 45-year-old who mows their lawn is Richard Rider.
Wow, that would be wow. To make him that old is.
I know.
But see, I like that. I like that. If the Nova Corps are destroyed, then Nova is more special if he's the last of or he gets the uniform of it. It makes me wonder if we might get something Nova-ish in the Marvels.
We could. I think that would make a lot of sense.
That would be cool.
I think he's going to pop up sooner rather than later. I just don't know where.
Yeah.
It's like the Fantastic Four. Everybody's talking about bringing them back. And the latest rumor has them going up against not Galactus, but one of the heralds of Galactus, with the idea that Galactus is coming. But not Silver Surfer.
Well, there's a lot of other good.
They're talking about Terrax.
Yeah, Terrax. This is where my brain goes. Yeah,
right. Which is a bad idea for me, because that's who I'm currently using as my villain in the Jack of Hearts pitch.
Okay. How about Fire Lord?
They can use Fire Lord.
Yeah, or Frankie Ray.
or Airwalker, or
yeah.
There's a bunch of them.
Yeah, yeah, right.
They can even go to the Fallen one, which was his first one.
Yep.
But I think what they're talking about is,
Hmm.
and this was somebody who was kind of talking online today about, is if they do Terrax and they hint at Galactus, and then they could do like a Marvel special that introduces the Silver Surfer as the new Herald, and then the second movie could be the coming of Galactus and dealing with Silver Surfer.
So no Doctor Doom at all, is what you're saying.
I would think they should stay the hell away from Doctor Doom. They've done 3 movies. They've
Well,
all failed. They all had Doctor Doom.
well, that's because they've never done him right.
Well,
I,
that's it.
this fanboy says.
Well, they've tried to tie him into the team's origin each time,
Mm-hmm.
which he doesn't need to be.
Mm-hmm.
He's
No.
Iron Man with Doctor Strange's bad habits.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
There's no reason to tie him into Fantastic Four. But Doctor Doom wasn't.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Doctor Doom wasn't one of the first villains for them anyway. He was a little ways down the line.
Yeah, I think he's like in issue 5 or something like that. But you would still want him to have gone to college with Reed, though, right?
Yeah, but you could bring that up later, or you could hint at him.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't want him tied into the time of the cosmic rays, and no, that was all stupid. And what was it in that third movie? He was like a blogger or something like that. It was like,
yeah, that was
no,
when
no, ruler of a small European country. Stop it. Nothing else. Just do that. Call him Dr. Doom. I don't care how silly it sounds.
Yeah. When I did my video on putting together a pitch for Fantastic Four, my first story, my whole movie had no Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
And it took place off of Earth. It didn't have them going in a rocket ship. It was a little bit about like the third movie, in that they get their powers from the negative zone. But it's a whole movie in the negative zone, going up against Annihilus and Blastar and the war between them. And when they come out, it's suddenly modern day. So they go in the 50s and come out now.
Mm-hmm.
That was my idea. And I liked it a lot. And I really wish they would do that, because I always thought the Fantastic Four made more sense in the 1950s.
Yeah.
Or 60s.
I've said it before. I'm losing a lot of steam about that movie. I need some really good news about it, or I'm going to get to the point where I just don't give a damn anymore. And the Fantastic Four are my favorites,
Well, part of the motivation behind them getting into space was that they were going to take the ship away from them or something, and they had to be the space.
Yeah.
Well, we do happen to live in an era that there's kind of another space race, but it's between corporations.
Right.
And I could see making the motivation, Reed's built this ship, but the backer is about to take it away or shut it all down because it's not profitable, and he's going to prove it. So he puts the crew together of his best friend, his girlfriend, and her young brother. And we're just going to fly it up there and bring it back down.
I think that's, what? They could have an Elon Musk kind of stand-in type of,
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, it's very topical, very, very timely, especially since we're talking about going to the moon again, which is, to me, is just insane. It's like, yeah, we were there 1 billion years ago. Why are we in this position all over again? But yeah, it's totally doable. I want it to be a spaceship of some sort. I get it that it's no longer we need to be the first people in space kind of a thing, but
which they could do if they said it in the 60s.
Yeah, yes, they could. But I really like your idea, quite a bit. But we also have like Nick Fury in some kind of spaceship or space station orbiting the Earth, so there's already people up there, But I don't know. They can figure it out. I'm still trusting in them to figure it out, but I think that I think they're having problems with setting the tone. I think that's what's going on, that there's probably a lot of opinions, and I really would love to know what Kevin Feige's idea is for the tone. What he really thinks is the best way to go with it, and if he's getting pushback from others.
I don't think he gets pushback.
I wouldn't think so either, unless his Disney overlords are the
Yeah.
ones that are telling him what to do. I don't know.
I mean, what has he done wrong so far?
Well, if you listen to some people, just about everything.
Well, it's because we're in that arc.
Yeah.
People love something, love it, love it, love it. It's popular. Now I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. It's all going to burn in hell.
They've never
it's horrible. It's weird. It's on the big comeback. It's on the comeback.
They haven't made a good movie since the first Iron Man.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I haven't really heard much in the way of dumping on Guardians 3.
No,
I mean, that's really nice.
And the box office on it is great. Mm-hmm. It only dropped 51%, and most Marvel movies have been dropping 65 to 70%.
Wow.
So it took in another 60 million domestically over the weekend.
Yep. Are you thinking that there might be a little bit of, oh boy, I wish we hadn't lost our director James Gunn to that other company, to the distinguished competition? You think that's going on behind the scenes?
No, I think what the problem is I think they were reaching out, and Marvel's kind of made its name on young writers, young directors trying things out. Mm-hmm. And they just happened to hit more than they've missed. But in the last couple, they haven't been as good. Because, I mean, you look at it. Okay, Ant-Man and the Wasp, I liked it more than most people, but it could have been better. Okay. A lot of people like Doctor Strange. I didn't like it as much. Mm-hmm. A lot of people loved No Way Home. It felt a little too fan servicey for me. Mm-hmm. But absolutely, I loved Shang-Chi, and I liked the Eternals. So it's kind of all over the place. The problem is that we hear the loudest screamers.
Yes, absolutely.
And they're always the people on the fringes.
Yep.
Things are amazing or they're horrible.
Yep.
If all you think is, that was fun, you don't go shout it from the rooftops. Mm-hmm. It's like, that could have been better. You don't go shout it from the rooftops.
Right.
So, it's the same way with everything in life. In politics, it's just the extremists are the ones that are getting the most play because they're the ones out there shouting.
Yeah. I also think a part of it is the perfect storm of Infinity War Endgame, that they may have literally painted themselves into that corner, like nothing is going to, I mean, everything leading up to that, and then we got those two movies, and it was, I mean, even me to this day, that's almost the perfect, like, you can't get better than that. And but I think they're doing, I don't know, I think they're doing the best that they can right now, and I'm for the most part, I'm enjoying it.
Maybe the problem is we had the big emotional 2-part movie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Coming out of it, we didn't have the characters that we went into it with.
Yeah.
To deal with the aftermath. We didn't have Tony Stark, didn't have Steve Rogers, didn't have Natasha.
Yep.
Thor didn't come out till much later. We got to see the aftermath through B tier characters.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't get an actual first team Avenger until Hawkeye.
Mm-hmm.
The Black Widow movie was all prior to it.
Yeah.
So the only time we got to see an actual Avenger dealing with all that death and stuff was Hawkeye.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or a little bit with Spider-Man when he was dealing with the death of Tony Stark. So,
right.
But so we had to see the aftermath through the eyes of Monica Rambeau, Yelena Belova, Sam and Bucky, which are great characters.
Wanda. Mm-hmm.
But they're not the characters that brought us into the universe.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yep, that really, really is.
And Wanda was kind of the bad guy in her own show.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's such a gray area. It's like, well, they made her the protagonist, but she was holding hostages, basically.
Yeah. But it's still a picture of the aftermath of Endgame, losing Vision and all of her PTSD or whatever.
Yeah. And also,
totally agree with all of that.
And then the way they dealt with it, you had WandaVision, which was a very strange show. It wasn't a standard Marvel show. It was that, sitcom half hour going into
because it wasn't supposed to be the first one.
True.
Right, right? I think people would have rolled with it better if it was the way the lineup was supposed to be, and that but we get that weird setup in the very first Marvel TV series, Marvel Studios TV series.
And then Falcon and the Winter Soldier got so chopped up because of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, we have a pandemic storyline in this. I think we should cut it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So I almost think that would have been better. Let's just hold it a little while and put it out.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of stuff that's the one I watch and I almost regret, because it's like, I wonder what it could have been originally. Because there seems like there's a lot more there.
Mm-hmm. I think I'm going to rewatch that one.
Yeah. I love the boat montage.
Okay.
Just when they're sitting there fixing the boat, that's one of my favorite things in any Marvel show.
Yeah.
So, and Bucky's sister, or Sam's sister, flirting with Bucky.
Yeah, I'm remembering this now. Yeah, right. Yep.
So, all right. Well, we filled an hour.
What? Yes, we did.
I was going to talk to you about the rest of Star Wars Visions too.
Okay. I think I still have 2 more to watch, if I remember correctly. And I have to remind myself to do that.
I've watched all of them, liked most of them. Mm-hmm. There were 2 that I didn't really care for. Mm-hmm. And both of them I realized were art styles that I didn't particularly fancy. And I wonder if that's correlation. When you watch animation, if you can't get into the art.
Oh, sure. Because that's happened to me with a comic book. I can have a perfectly good story and writing and everything, but if the art is poor or not to my liking, I probably will walk away saying that wasn't a very good comic book. No, totally. I totally think that's the case.
Yeah,
with an animated thing.
But there was a couple. We'll take a couple extra minutes.
Okay.
I want to just bring up the list and.
Yeah, how many altogether is there? 6?
No, I think it's 8.
Oh, well then you know what? I think maybe I've only watched 4 then.
It's 9.
Oh, 9?
Yeah.
Ooh,
okay.
Then I still have a ways to go.
I'm going to go no spoiler review on these.
Okay.
The very first one, the art is gorgeous.
Yes.
It took me a minute to get into it, but I absolutely loved it.
Yep. I'm on board with that. Mhm.
The second one, I didn't really like the art, and I found myself getting distracted and not really caring about it.
If I remember that one, what was it called?
It was like some kind of haunted area these kids were going to.
That's it. No, I really liked that one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
although it's kind of a similar story to the first one. I thought it was maybe a little too similar to have
Yeah.
them back to back. But I liked it. I liked what was going on in it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
The one with the two sisters in the stars, it took me a little bit to get into it, but once I did, I really liked it. The art style was very unique.
I didn't like the character of the young girl.
Mm. See, I
Yeah,
didn't like her at first, but
yeah.
then I kind of got into liking her near the end.
There's a lot more uh, uh, Star Warsiness because it's like the Empire, and troopers and stuff like that. So I didn't dislike it. That one was okay.
Yeah. The one called "I Am Your Mother," which is like the Wallace and Gromit art.
Okay, that's the last one that I watched. So I have only watched
Yeah.
four. Hmm.
I love that, and the fact that Wedge Antilles is in it. It's so good, and
but
they
not a
got
very
Dennis
but
Larson.
not a very favorable portrait of him.
But they got Dennis Larson, which is even better.
That is
That's actually Wedge.
that didn't
That's
sound like him. Wow.
that's Ewan McGregor's uncle.
Yeah, wow. I was thinking that they just got somebody else. Okay. Hmm.
Okay, and then the last five that you haven't seen, I'll
Yeah.
just do it like this. The Journey into the Dark Head, I think, is an interesting story.
Hmm.
The motivations aren't really there, but the story itself is interesting. The art is very typical manga,
Hmm.
but I thought it was a good episode.
Okay.
The Spy Dancer was another one I had a hard time getting into. It was probably my second least favorite. Uh,
Oh, wait. Spy. See, now maybe I did watch six. Okay, I'll have to look back over. Keep going. I'm sorry.
my favorite, and it just barely pushed out the first one,
Okay.
is called The Bandits of Golek. And it has this South Asian, India style to it.
Okay.
The art is stunning. The story is great, and it's all about this girl in this area where they have no idea. There shouldn't be a Jedi in this area. It is just. It feels like. I mean, it's exactly what you're supposed to get from these, which
Okay.
is, uh, this. I think it's a group from India or South Asia
Hmm.
who put this together, and it has all the trappings and feelings, but still is a Star Wars story, and I thought it was great.
Okay. I
Uh,
just remembered what Spy Dancer was, so I did watch up through Spy Dancer. Spy Dancer was, yes, with the ribbons of of
yes,
and all of yes, that was okay.
yeah,
I don't remember the one before that was in like anime style.
yeah. They're basically trying to cut the head off a statue.
Oh, yeah, no, I wasn't real fond of that one. It looked
Yeah,
okay,
I
I
didn't like
guess.
the fact they wanted to
Yeah.
cut the head off a statue, but I liked the interaction between the two characters.
Yeah, that was okay. That was okay. All right. So I did I did watch it. So I've watched six. I have three more to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Pit is probably the darkest
Uh-huh.
of
Well, just
them
that name. It
from a
sounds
story point of view,
mhm,
and it is so on the edges of being a Star Wars story, but
mm,
it's really strong.
okay.
So it's the least. It fits the least into the Star Wars universe.
Hmm.
And I'm all basically you were looking at people who have nothing to do with the Galactic Empire. It's just the outskirts, but it's pretty interesting. It's a good one. And then Alu's song, which is the final one, the art style is very different. It's almost like you're watching stuffed animals,
Okay.
but it's an
Now there's something to
interesting.
look forward to.
but it's a very interesting story.
Okay.
So the only two that I went were Spy Dancer and Screecher's Reach.
Okay.
But there was redeemable stuff to all the other ones.
I thought Screecher's Reach was pretty dark.
Like I
I'm
said,
digging in on that one. I'm digging in. I liked it.
if it's the second one and I'm kind of wandering off and thinking about other things.
Okay.
So, all right.
All right. That gives me impetus to now finish that damn series.
All right. I'm going to wrap it up there.
Okay.
It's good chatting with you, man. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And we will see you next week where we'll talk about more fun stuff. See you then.